I just think the more we take it to them on they block, because again, getting them into a contained room is rare for the cats that we going after. We gonna have to take the food. We gonna have to break bread with them right on they block.
So in order for us to fix them, we got to fix us, right? So Dolph just came in a minute ago and he was like, I was out in the suburbs and these $1 million homes and ain't a damn black business out there. You understand what I'm saying? That's a representation of that illness.
The real purpose of education is to teach us to control the resources of the planet. If you don't control the resources of the planet, I don't care if you have a PhD, I know too many PhDs that are struggling.
And in a real way, you want to say, man, sure, look, let me take you away from this life, right? But in order to do that, we got to have something of our own to push them to.
That's right. How do we harness resources? That's the key.
Exactly. So just that putting some money together to make some money is only one way. That's just a way to collect resources. Harnessing resources includes the conversations about policy making and that sort of thing at the legislative, obtaining power at the legislative level.
We got to get in the concept where we can build our own businesses and corporations. I think we limited to the fact that we got to work for somebody else, or we not going to be able to get to that level. We got to break through that barrier and say, no, yeah, we can own our own corporations, not just in the hair care products and so forth, but we can expand out.
When we start examining our relationships, examining our money, I'm talking about your own little bank account or whatever, and if you always broke, I don't care what you make, you're supposed to know how to save a little bit of some of what you make for a rainy day, for that emergency situation, and that's a lack of maturity.
But I'm also thinking about the whole scope of it, because I might need you. I might need you. You might need me for something. But if you tell me the only reason why you're here because, oh, I'm financially trying to get something, so my mind right now is saying to you about you is that I can't mess with you because you only thinking about this right here.
So when the shorty say you failed, he ain't talking about you because he don't know you. True. He's talking about us. And that's a general conversation. And generally, we fail.
And I'm gonna let you flow, but I remember our first gathering on a Thursday night, the very first one. That boy stood at that table right up under that exit sign, and his first thing, after thanking us for feeding him, he said, where y'all been?
But we can't get back to that level unless we nurture and love each other, as well as the young men that we see on the street. So it's a both and. It's a all of the above. There is no, and so it's okay to disagree, to have these little conversations. It's okay, but it's also okay to invest. It's also okay to say, you know what, we have a business that we're trying to put up, and we want you to invest.
And I think it's as simple as the concept of just black love. You know, as we talk about or consider just the initial conversation, we talked about self-esteem a little bit and the lack of self-esteem that a lot of people have. And we also said, Dolph pointed out that was taught to us. That lack of self-esteem, that hatred of self was taught and placed inside of us.
This is the largest concentration of black people in this country.
DuSable County.
This shit don't exist nowhere else. So the growth and victory that we supposed to show the world got to come from here.
It's here.
And understand this, the enemy is very familiar with that concept.
I live in the area, and Mother Wade has been a supporter of our fraternity ever since I got in college years ago. We first started having our banquets here, and we didn't have any money, and she took care of it. That's why she'll tell you now that I'm her son.
My name is Dr. Randolph Dolphin Norris. I'm here. I was invited for my frat brother, Kappa Alpha Psi, Rob Hodges. But you know, I'm a black man before I'm a Greek man. Make that very clear.
When they was talking about trying to shut down 79th Street, which was the dumbest idea I could ever think of, gonna have a war on 79th Street, and you're gonna have everybody scared to come over to 79th Street to shop or do anything else. And we're already in dire straits, okay? A little of my background, I taught high school mathematics for 27 years.
Myself, I just wanted to come back. I was in California. I just came back to reconnect with the community, reconnect with youth, try to be a role model. I'm only 26, so a youth as well, and essentially just try to really change some of the paradigms of what our communities are facing, not only in Bronzeville, but the South Side in general.
And one of the reasons that motivate me is that I do have 3 daughters, and I do know that if we don't do something with these young men, they ain't gonna have no husbands. And so that motivates me to try to just make sure that some of these young men that are out here are available to some of our women folk.
It's a big disconnect between the older generation and like my generation and the generation that's coming after me. It's almost like a lot of the older cats have roped the shorties off like, fuck them, you know what I'm saying? Or they on this and that ain't, when I was a shorty, instead of seeing why they like this or asking the question, how did we become this way, or why we don't honor everything or nobody, or why we don't respect this or whatever, or just creating that dialogue, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
There's a lot of plans at the table, right? Cats is talking about building businesses, opening businesses. People already have businesses opening, right? Just got to be more intentional about it and probably be more organized. I think is a quote-unquote brotherhood for myself and for us, you know, practicing those principles of brotherhood, lifting one another up. Two don't like church, but church is what sustains. So to a certain extent, this is church.
Hey, you need just hope, go to church. If you need hope in economics, find a church that has a business program. Find a church that has a daycare program that provides these assets to your community for the members for free of charge. Because you pay your tithes, you pay what I call your taxes. You pay your taxes to the church. And so you should get some benefits back from it.
The world has forgotten about a certain segment of our society, so it takes those of us who are able to create opportunities, those of us who know better, to come back and do better. So one of the things I am here is hoping to use my expertise to at least help Breaking Bread build a foundation so we can move forward, so the young fellas can have something to look forward to in future years.